The drama of the previous week will rattle Weatherfield in the months to come, but there is also plenty more going on in Coronation Street over the next 7 days. At the start of the week, when Ronnie Bailey introduces Debbie Webster to Fiona, an old flame Debbie's put out. Ronnie assures Debbie that Fiona is nothing more than a friend. Debbie makes out she's not bothered, but when her phone rings, she plays Ronnie at his own game and lets him think she's got a new boyfriend. Carl Webster then tells Ronnie that Debbie doesn't want anything to do with him, and from now on he's barred from the hotel. Ronnie's furious as the pair square up. Later, Fiona tells Ronnie she's got a job for him, which involves selling on a stolen car. Ronnie shows the car to a potential buyer and gives his best sales pitch. But when the guy reveals his wife recently died, Ronnie is thrown and refuses to sell the car, leaving the guy bemused. As Ronnie calls Fiona, making out he wasn't interested, the door suddenly opens and Carl climbs in, demanding answers. Meanwhile, Abby Webster is annoyed to discover that husband Kevin has given Carl a job at the garage. With Kevin and Abby out of the way, Carl calls Fiona and takes delivery of a dodgy car. What is he up to? Elsewhere in Weatherfield, Eileen Grimshaw tells George Shuttleworth and Brian Packham that the drugs found in Julie's system were the painkillers prescribed for her, not Julie. When Brian makes an innocuous remark, Eileen snaps and bans him from attending the funeral. Meanwhile, George feels out of his depth as he tries to comfort Eileen. Later, George confides in Todd Grimshaw how no matter how hard he tries, everything he does seems to annoy Eileen these days. Meanwhile, a downcast Theo Silverton reveals that his never showed up for breakfast as arranged, but when Theo spies something on Todd's phone, he's left troubled. The day arrives for Julie's funeral, and as the mourners gather, Eileen hands Brian a letter from Julie. Having read Julie's letter, Brian confronts Eileen over Julie's life insurance policy, pointing out that she's the only beneficiary, yet failed to mention it. Eileen assures him that she knew nothing about it until after Julie's death. So when Tracy Barlow implies that she orchestrated Julie's death to get her hands on the money, Eileen's incensed. Eileen then rails at George, blaming him for the fact Julie's funeral is ruined. Later, when a guy called Noah enters the pub and waves to Billy Mayhew, Theo hurries out. When Theo reveals to Todd that Noah was present at his conversion therapy, Todd's appalled. In the pub, they play Julie's dream game. But when George tells Eileen that his dream is to marry her, Eileen's stunned, but she's saved from answering by the sudden arrival of her son, Jason. As George hovers awkwardly, awaiting her reaction, will he get the answer he wants? Also, Brody Michaelis is tense as he listens to a message from his dad, Mick. Kit Green returns home to find Brody smashing up his flat, revealing he's spoken to his dad, who assures him he's innocent and it's a police stitch-up. Kit calmly spells out to Brody that the evidence suggests otherwise and Mick is a violent man, but Brody sees red and charges at Kit, sending him crashing into the wall. As Sarah Platt and Bernie Winter arrive, Brody races out, a hoodie covering his face. As they dash inside, what state will they find Kit in? Later, T.S. Lisa Swain tells Kit that Bernie's provided Brody with an alibi. A fuming Kit collars Bernie and points out he now has two options. Either tell Lisa that he was mistaken or charge her with perverting the course of justice. When Bernie reminds Kit that Brody is family, Kit is forced to admit to Sarah that he slept with Brody's mom, Lou Michaelis, and suspects Brody's his son. How will she react? Kit tells Brody he's willing to withdraw the burglary charge if in return he stays out of trouble, as he wouldn't want him to turn out like Mick. Will Brody agree? In his prison cell, Mick lies on the floor, having suffered a beating. Brody confronts Bernie, wanting to know why she stuck her neck out for him and gave him an alibi. Will Bernie reveal all? Meanwhile, Maria Windass tells Lou she's fired. Having stormed out, Lou tells Gary that she's sorry Mick gave him a beating, but she's had plenty herself over the years. Gary can't help but feel sorry for her and buys her a drink. How will Maria react? Later, tells Sarah that it's Mick's hearing today, and he's confident he'll plead guilty. Lou visits Mick and is shocked at his injuries. Mick reveals that Kit organized the attack and spelled out that if he doesn't plead guilty, the next beating will be worse. Lou returns from the hearing and tells Brody that his dad pleaded not guilty. Brody's delighted, but Lou hasn't the heart to tell him there will be a price to pay. And last, but by no means least, after last week's horror events involving Craig Tinker, so Lisa emotionally reflection.